As you can see from the title of this video, we're doing wrestling moves discovered by accident or created by accident, because you don't really discover wrestling moves. They're not like dinosaurs. Now, I know we all know the story of the DDT. So what you may not know is there was a wrestler in the Southwest United States and Mexico using the DDT in the 70s. I don't remember his name. I tried to memorize it. My brain not good at memorizing. But Jake the Snake, how he discovered the DDT was he was wrestling a wrestler named the Grappler. Because you can name wrestler shit like that in the 80s and the 70s. And he stepped on Jake the Snake's foot, and they both fell backwards with the Grappler landing on his head, and the crowd went wild. So Jake's like, we're on to something here. So then the next day he was reading a newspaper and it said DDT banned. And so he named it the DDT. We don't know what the guy who was using it in the 70s in southwestern Mexico was calling the move, because he was just using it as a transitional move. But Jake started using it as his finisher. He went to WWF. He popularized the move. Hence, Jake became known as the Master of DDT. And he popularized the move, unlike the guy in the 70s. So Jake gets all the credit, but there was a guy before him using the DDT. And we all know that story. But one you may not know is the story of the Tiger Driver, 91, with Kenta Kobashi, who was trying to do a powerbomb. And the guy did not pull his head up. Much like if you remember when Brock Lesnar was trying to do a powerbomb on Bob Holly did not pull his head up and broke his neck. Well, Kenta Kobashi was trying to do a powerbomb on I don't remember who, because I could find very little information on the creation of the Tiger Driver 91. Thank you, Internet. But I could find out this was an accidental move, as it then became world famous. So if you ever create an accident, try to make it world famous. Even if it's a kid, make it a movie star. Either that or make it a serial killer. So he was trying to do a powerbomb, and the wrestler did not pull his head up, and he ended up dropping him on his neck. And the crowd once again went wild. And Kenta Kobashi's like, I got an idea. We're going to do this spot all over Japan. Mainly because a lot of places in the United States would not let him do it. And hence the Tiger Driver 91 was born. Yay! Now, as for the diving headbutt, Harley Race was going for a top rope splash one night. I think it was a middle rope splash, actually, because Harley Race was a big guy. And he accidentally slipped and banged his head into the opponent's head. And history was made. The diving headbutt was created, and Harley recreated the diving headbutt all over the United States and made it world famous. Much to the chagrin of everybody who used it after him. And so concussion after concussion after concussion. The Dynamite Kid used a swanton diving headbutt. Swan dive diving headbutt. And suffered back and neck injuries. Chris Benoit used the swan dive diving headbutt and suffered back and neck injuries, along with many, many concussions. So maybe that's not a good thing to use a swan diving headbutt. Now on to my favorite move I discovered when doing research for this, the Diamond Head. I never heard of this move. I don't know if you have. This was in a match that I don't even remember who wrestled this match. I can't remember the name of the wrestler. But it was a Japanese wrestling match, and the wrestler was bragging that this was going to be his new finisher for finishing guys. And it was going to be a powerbomb DDT combination. Now that sounds either really dangerous or really cool. I can imagine a powerbomb into a DDT. And only Japan can pull this off. Now, it didn't quite go right, as you can imagine. So you'd have to do that with a lighter guy. And the guy ended up getting dropped, almost smack dab on his head. This move was only used once, and you gotta watch the video. Just type in Diamond Head Wrestling Move on YouTube, and you'll find the video. The guy got dropped almost smack dab on his head. I bet the other guy won I bet the guy who did the move won the match. I bet the guy who got dropped on his head had a concussion. It was knocked clean out. And it was only used once. And it's a funny as hell move because it did go right, and the guy got dropped smack dab on his head. And it's a hilarious video. You gotta watch it. Type in Diamond Head Wrestling Move on YouTube. Go check it out. Now, as for another American move that was invented by accident, we have the People's Elbow, which, as silly as this move is, it was meant to be silly. Because The Rock invented it to make The Undertaker break character. Now, for those of you who know, The Undertaker never breaks character. He goes on talk shows and doesn't break character. He goes on radio interviews and doesn't break character. He doesn't break character. The only few times he'd break character was when he was the American Badass, otherwise known as Biker Taker. And then he'd do interviews and stuff not in character. But as the Dead Man, he never broke character. So The Rock and Triple H were trying to break character, make The Undertaker break character. So all the kicking him, the throwing the elbow pad, the theatrics was all to make it super silly to break The Undertaker's character. And it didn't work, but fans loved it. I wonder if that's why Hogan's leg drop was invented, to make someone break character. Because that's also super silly. And can't believe it took someone out in a wrestling maneuver. Now, another Japanese move is known as the Gonzo Bomb. Now, this movie, once again, was invented by accident, by a botch. Kawada was wrestling his arch rival for the Triple Crown Championship, and Kawada broke his arm earlier in the match. Now, his rival was going for a Frankensteiner on him, and Kawada couldn't hold him up, so he accidentally kneeled down and dropped him on his head. Once again, we've got this thing about dropping people on their heads in wrestling. Now, this became a regular move, unlike the Diamond Head, which was never used again. This became known as the Gonzo Bomb or the Kawada Driver. Or was it the Kawada Bomb? I don't remember. It was either the Kawada Bomb or the Kawada Driver. Or the Gonzo Bomb. And it's a regular move. And the only way to take it is to just feel the pain of being drilled on your neck and head. So these crazy Japanese people inventing these crazy moves, they're just going to get you hurt. For my final move, we're going to end with an American move. Because I'm running out of time here. Because I want this movie to be no longer than 10 minutes. I want this episode to be no longer than 10 minutes. The Power Bomb. I mean, I've got another move, but I'm cutting it. Yeah, we'll do the other move too. So really, we've got two more. I'm going to put that one in too. The Power Bomb. This was invented with Lou Thesz was wrestling somebody. And he went for a pile driver. And the guy pulled his head up and landed on his shoulders with his legs in the air. And once again, everybody went nuts. and the powerbomb was born. So Lou Thesz is actually the master of the powerbomb. Now for my last move, we've got the Claymore kick. Now you might think Drew McIntyre ripped off Sheamus, but he actually didn't. See, this goes back to Drew McIntyre's time in the three-man band, when he was wearing the tight pants and a cucumber down his pants. Because whenever you're in a band, you got to wear that cucumber down your pants. And his pants were so tight, he couldn't do a whole lot. So he went for a running big boot on somebody. But to get his leg up that high, he had to get his other leg up that high. So he lifted both legs up and kicked the guy in the face, and hence the Claymore kick was born. Now, it wasn't a finisher then. He actually hurt himself doing it, almost rung his bell a little bit, but the Claymore kick was born. Now, that's all the time we have for this video. I went over the time I wanted to use. Next week, we're either doing career retrospective on Dynamite Kid or Brody Lee. Leave your comments. Tell me which one you want. If you don't leave any comments, I'm just going to choose one, or I might choose somebody else entirely. That's it. That's all time. Goodbye.